See. All right. Hi.
Hi.
So welcome to the Empty Nest Quest, everybody. This season, I am doing some solo episodes. Jennifer has a lot going on. And so I am having these fun co-host weeks where instead of just kind of having that interview format, I'm inviting amazing, I don't know, in this case, healer, mother, wife, friend, magnificent soul to just co-host with me and have a really great conversation that will speak to us at this phase and stage of life in a really fresh new way that I can't wait for you to hear. So Liz McNulty, we're so glad to have you today.
Thank you. I'm so happy you asked. I
Um,
love you we've been friends on Pilates Zoom calls for how many years?
that's what I feel like we have to start this conversation with, because that by itself could be the whole episode about how to do this part of life and get to know people.
Yeah, right. Yeah, Zoom is a connector, and the way those classes were wholeheartedly feeling each other, I feel like we haven't met yet in person, and I feel like we're long lost sisters. Yeah.
That's crazy. You're right. We haven't met in person. I forgot about that. I think we have, because I go to Charleston so much. And so I'm like, oh, you're one of
Yeah.
my Charleston people. I'm like, but I haven't met you in person.
But it feels like we really know each other because it's been years.
I
Yeah.
know. And we really do know each other. And I think that is the beautiful part. If we use technology for good, then it really is. It's kind I mean, like if you in the 80s were a phone talker, you
Yeah.
had real connection on the phone in the closet with the curly cord tucked under your arm and under the closet door so your mom couldn't hear. But I feel like it's like that. Like you can use it in a
Oh, yeah.
really good way. And so I'll just say to listeners, Liz and I are part of a community. Lauren Levine has a Pilates kind of collective. And so she does these classes on Saturday mornings that are so amazing. And Liz and I both are in those classes and gotten to know each other. And then, of course, over the course of time, found out through mutual friends that, like, oh my gosh, you're that Liz, that we also have other friends mutual. So it's been really
Right.
fun. Yeah, to get to know each other. So Liz, I would love so anyway, caveat, first of all, just dive into all kinds of fun things, even if they're online, and you never know who your people are out there, because do we not trust the benevolence of God and the universe that we will find them?
Oh,
So
friends just waiting to be had,
that's right.
waiting to be made.
So I'm a big fan of Zoom for that reason. But I would love, Liz, if you would start by just telling us a little about like where you are in life and how you're feeling connected to this season, and maybe just some of what you're doing like as a human, like day to day. And then of course I want to hear about your work.
Hmm. Yeah. Okay. What my day to day is like right now in this season. Um, yeah. I have a practice called Tensegrity Medicine of Charleston, and it is a body work, energy medicine, nervous system healing, fascia detective work kind of practice. It keeps me very inspired and curious, and I just love it. So, a lot of my week is seeing clients doing that, which I love. And I'm a mom of two kids. My daughter is about to turn 17. She's a junior in high school. And my son he just turned 15. And so I have two high schoolers. He just started freshman year. And they're my mirrors. They're the biggest loves and joys and teachers and mirrors. Yeah, and my husband. So yeah, we live in downtown Charleston, and yeah, so life is kind of around my own inner work. I do a lot of inner work and self care, and that is a priority to me, which I have learned over the years is so
Yeah.
necessary. to prioritize, and then the practice, and then the kids, and fun travel in the summer, and all that. Yeah.
Yeah. That we're similar in that way. Our family, one of my friends joked with me at the beginning of summer. She was like, "Let's get together." She was like, "Never mind. It's summer. And you gypsies are never here during the summer." I was like,
Uh-huh.
yes, you're right. And I love that about summer for us. So
Same.
yeah, it's
Yep.
funny.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just getting into the routine. And it's, are you feeling it? There's this like rush of
Yeah.
busy routine, and it's a totally different frequency, that hustle. And I just parts of me, I don't want to do it anymore like that. I don't want to be that exacerbated
Mhm.
frequency, but I want to show up for my kids and be at all the tennis matches and all the parent nights and all the things that have to be on the calendar. So,
Right.
yeah.
God, so many things are swirling as you're saying that. Like, well, the one that probably feels the most prevalent is, have you ever heard Brene Brown talk about, because I know that you're this way, and so I just feel like this would be nice for people to hear, especially because so many of our listeners are kind of where you are with like kind of straddling that, oh, I'm about to have an empty nest. It feels like kind of the kids are 1 foot out because now they're independent, can drive themselves everywhere, and like, there's a little bit of that. Like I did it today. My kids are 21 and almost 23. And this morning I woke up with that weird feeling like that I'd forgotten to get everybody somewhere. And I thought, isn't that interesting? Because it's been a minute since I had to get everybody anywhere. But I think it was like I slept later than I normally sleep. And my first thing was I woke up and I was like, nobody went to school. And I was like, wow. Well, partially because no one in your house goes to school anymore. But it was
But how
strange.
that old stress is like following, even they're like,
Yes,
wait a minute, that's not my life right now.
yes, exactly. So that came to mind, but also, so I think some of us still have that, like those neuro pathways that are like the way we mother is we hustle and do. And have you ever heard Brene Brown talk about the time she like let herself off the hook? There was something at the school and she was like trying to rally to go to her son's thing, but she really felt like her body was given a full stop. Like,
Mhm.
no, we, Renee, we cannot do this. We must stay home. And she was like, no, but I'm a mom. I need to go. And she kind of talks through the whole back and forth. Have you heard her talk about that and how she
I think
decided
I
not?
have, but I can definitely relate. Yeah.
Yeah. And so she decides to listen to her body because at the time she was kind of, maybe studying some self compassion type work. And she tells her son, like, I'm not going to go to your thing. And of course, he was like, okay. And she felt terribly guilty and she didn't go. And what was cool was fast forward, when this makes me think of like you talking about our kids, like what we mirror to each other. So
Mhm.
fast forward, like a month or two later, her son didn't want to go to something that he was feeling obligated to go
Mhm.
to. And he said, it's okay though, mom, if I don't go, right? Because, yeah, just kind of like
Mhm.
he processed, like, I know
Mhm.
it's okay because I saw you do it and I was fine and you were fine. And actually, we were better later that night. And how cool is that?
Yes. Oh, it's
Just
wild. You're bringing up this. I just had a real time example of that.
of course.
So noticing, okay, when am I in that obligatory, I call it like habitual pattern, right?
hmm
That kind of you're there's the should. The,
Whew.
the should comes in, oh, we should do this. I said I would do it, I should do it. And it feels like a contraction in my body. And so anyway, I just saw the mirror of me and my daughter doing this exact thing that you're talking about. And I caught it almost in real time, not before. we ended up getting in a huge fight, but in the middle of the fight, I realized what I was saying to her, I was saying to myself that had that feeling of, oh, I should be showing up for the thing that I said I would do. So,
Um,
so I don't know if I need to explain the details, but I had just had a thing with my family where I chose for myself and needed to make a choice for myself. And there were disappointments with my family.
mhm.
And so there were parts of me reverberating of like, oh, I kind of said I would do that thing. And it didn't happen that way, but I knew it was in alignment with the choice. So then, like a couple days later, my daughter was supposed to be at a tennis practice, but we had just flown home from Hawaii and she was, from Alaska, and she was exhausted.
Obviously, because you don't even know where you flew home from. So you
Right.
were,
Yeah. We were just, yeah. I'm like, where were we on this fabulous trip, but also so
yeah,
tired? And I
yeah.
was like, no, you should, so I start fighting with her. No, you said you were supposed to be there. And you can be there. You're on the team. You should show up. And she was just like collapsing. And I realized in that moment, I'm yelling this is a mirror, and I'm yelling at myself.
Mm-hmm.
And we were in the fight, but I was able to stop in the fight and be like, wait, what do we need right now? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you go to tennis right now. And then we came back together. We cried, and then she fell asleep in my arms in
Oh,
like 10 minutes. A 17-year-old. That's how exhausted we were.
yeah.
And so I didn't notice it before I started yelling at her, but I did notice it in the moment. And I was like, this isn't about the obligatory shoulds. What
Mm-hmm.
what do I really want her to do is listen to her inner alignment and
Mm-hmm.
body and
Mm-hmm.
honor it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so practice in this is another pattern, not the habitual pattern, but the creative kind of new neural pathway, new neuroplasticity circuitry. And so we're getting practice, and we're getting it wrong, and then we're noticing.
Mm-hmm. 100%. That resonates with me so much that I feel that so much. I think of so many times with my girls when I've done that same thing where I've really felt like, okay, well, this time though, like I know that I'm trying not to should all over myself all the time, but
Yeah.
sometimes like you really have to be at the thing. Like, it's like I kind of skirt my way around it, which probably somewhere in your mind you were doing too. Yeah, but sometimes you commit and you have to be there. And and I think that, I was listening to a woman the other day. I really can't remember her name. She's a really young, like dynamic girl boss. Um, and
Hmm.
she has a podcast. And why can't I think of her name? I think her podcast is called Aspire, maybe. But anyway, she like started Skims with Kim Kardashian. I cannot remember her name, but she was talking about kind of this whole thing of that the way she's been successful is she has this real trust in her inner knowing, and that
Mm-hmm.
she trusts that whether or not the decision she makes in the moment feels quote right, that there's something for her on the other side of that, and her destiny and her
Mm-hmm.
it always meets her on the other side. So if she follows that should, she learns something from
There's
following
a
the should.
lesson.
If she doesn't
There's a
follow
lesson.
the she's gonna
Yeah.
get it's destiny's still gonna meet her on the other side. And so what I love is like both ways that could have happened. Your daughter gets feedback and learns
Right.
something. Like
Right.
so she got to experience what it felt like to have this friction, and then for you guys to come together figure it out together, for her to just be able to collapse and rest.
Yeah.
And that's really beautiful. And then, like, if she does, you know, like, suck it up, buttercup, and go one day, and then she finds out, okay, well, it feels good to have this resilience. Maybe I didn't play my best
Right.
tennis because I could barely
Right.
swing the racket. Like, I feel like it's just so beautiful. And I love I love your awareness in the moment, because to me, that's just so human for her to see, like, you catch yourself, y'all come back together, you be able to cry together. Like, it's okay to be messy. It's okay to
Yeah.
be not perfect in our parenting, and that we're still loving our kids. And I just feel like for so many people, what I hear is a lot of guilt in this season about being a mom, about one of my dearest, oldest friends, she just sent her twins to college. Like, she's moving in right now
Mhm.
in Colorado. And we were just talking about how she was like, okay, Melynda, did you do this right before you sent them off? Did you keep looking at them going, did I really not prepare you for that? Like, did I not teach you how to separate the whites and the darks? Head scratch, like,
Right.
wait,
Are
you
they okay? Is it my fault?
do you not, like, with my girls, it was like, wait, why don't y'all just know to carry like a bag that you put your ID in, and your car keys and your room key, and you don't have like a, purse, or a section of your book bag where I kept being like, what, how did I miss that? Like, why don't they know to, like, keep all this stuff in one place? And it's just funny. And then all of a sudden you feel like that hover. See, this is like, for you, it can be preemptive, like, don't do this crap when your 17-year-old is, in a year. It would be like, you would just have all these moments, and all of a sudden you would want to, like, badger and hover and be like, okay, we need to sit down because I just realized like 6 things that I didn't teach you that I should have taught you over the last 4 years. And it's like, okay, calm down. They're going to figure all that out in like
Right.
5 minutes when it's not going their way.
Right.
It'll be trial by fire, and they'll figure it out.
Right.
And then you don't have to wear yourself out and create a rift between you trying to, like, fix every problem before they
And
happen.
overcompensate. Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's so much there. There's a lot there. The richness of, like, okay, the guilt, like, where is that coming from?
Yeah.
Where's that coming from? Is that a societal thing that was what a mom, a good mom and kids that are going to be successful in the next stage look like? That is total BS.
Right.
And so noticing, like, where is the guilt coming from? Or is it coming from an inner fear of, like, oh my gosh, I'm not a good enough mom, and I didn't do that thing that they needed. And so then your action, right, is out of fear that you're either not good enough, either from within or from the external.
Yes.
And then that action, the kids, I mean, kids are so smart. They can tell, the authenticity of your reaction, like where it's coming from, I think. I don't know. I feel like the kids these days are so much more sensory empathic and kind of wise beyond their years. And so
100%.
then to feel the fear of, like, oh gosh, don't you know, and you should do this, then that makes them feel, so the I'm not good enough is then reflected, and then they feel lacking.
Yeah.
Whereas if you could just, like,
And we're trying not to pass that down by fixing their problems, but we're actually passing it down because they don't pick up on. It's kind of that old saying, it's not, wait, how does it? It's not what you say, it's what you do, kind of thing. Like, we can be like, well, because I'm trying to parent us out of you having, I don't want you to go forward with these problems that I have. And it's like, okay, well, I mean, this is going to be back to like your work and what I had to say to me. years ago, because I loved that right off the bat you said about your kids being your mirror. I had a therapist say to me when my girls were very little, thank goodness, they were like 5 and 3 at the time. She said, Melynda, the way to be a successful parent, and this is not popular opinion, but it is the truth. She said, the way to be a successful parent and really, quote, fix anything is to work on yourself and to be aware of your own misgivings. And she said, so for instance, like at the time, my sweet little baby kindergartner was having some bullying on the playground. She was having a really hard time standing up for herself. I just couldn't figure out why she wouldn't go tell a teacher. And then, like, one day, in buckets and buckets of tears, she looks me dead in the eye, like a part of her that I swear was just like our souls connected, and said, Mommy, and just gritted her sweet little teeth at me and goes, Mommy, you keep telling me to go find a teacher, but that's not what we do. We take care of other people, don't we, Mommy? I can't walk away from her. Something like that. And I was like, oh, gosh.
So she was trying to take care of that other person's feelings.
Yes.
Oh, and not get them in trouble. Oh. Like, oh, no.
And I just remember thinking, like, oh, shit, the therapist really knew what she was talking about. Crap.
You're like, no, do what's good for you. And that is.
And I kept telling her to do that. But what was she watching me do? But just like, doormat to whoever, like, make all the people happy. And so I started conscientiously noticing when I was doing that kind of thing in front of her. And I would pause and be like, oh, I'm doing it right now. Like, I'm saying yes, but I mean no. I'm going to the thing even when I don't want to. And so one day I was about to step outside. I was having a really hard conversation with a client. This client, like, was flying off the handle and, like, just literally just cussing me out on the phone. And I was like, and I was going to step outside to stand my ground. And I thought, you know what? Maybe I need to just let Sarah Kate with me. And so I let Sarah Kate hear me say, if you can't change the way you're talking to me, I'm going to hang up on you. And we can try again another time. I understand that you're mad, but this is not how I will be spoken to.
Yes.
And she looked up at me. I can tell, like, we were standing in the pantry at 1121 Spring Valley Way. Like, I can tell you where we were exactly.
Like, and slowed down.
The lady kept screaming. And I said, okay, I'm hanging up now. We can reconvene in 48 hours. I won't talk to you before then. And I hung up. And Sarah Kate was like, whoa, Mommy. And then we have this whole conversation. And it was really interesting because that really was when I understood and really embodied and felt in my body how, even though it feels harder when somebody tells you that, I thought, wow, this is so much easier.
Yes.
Than me always trying to change her and control her. And so now when I see my girls going through something, while I might at first be like, oh, you should do this, you should do that. And then I'm like, whoa, sister. And I'll kind of notice there's something in me.
Yes.
That's being called to a higher, maybe to my higher, to a higher expectation of myself, or maybe it's just like a part of me that needs acknowledging or whatever, to kind of parent them through that. And I want to kind of segue that into, I feel like that aligns with the kind of work you do, like the things you are working with people in their body.
Yeah.
Talk to me about how that, because I know that's what you're doing. I can see and feel it when I see your work, but I'd love to hear some stories.
Yeah. Oh, I love that we're talking about this, because it's this paradox of, that to be in your own self and to take care of your own self and to just be shining and embodying your radiance, which is like, do the things that you need. And so that you're grounded and in you, that in culture that's selfish, right? And we should be overextending ourselves or fixing somebody's pain or fixing somebody's, oh, they can't do that for themselves. That looks like, oh, she's great. But when you said that word, actually, it was easier so that's the energy. So, because the one that overextends ourselves, and as a practitioner, the one that thinks you have to fix and help somebody's pain, that has a limited amount of energy behind it. And it will get burned out. And it doesn't actually translate to the client or the child, right? Because they're just showing up for the external stimulus to help them, and they're not empowered that they have it in them.
Yeah, you take away their lesson, right? You take away their growth. Yeah.
Right. So the paradox that it's actually energetically extremely more generous and effective and easy on my system if I'm kind of like that tuning fork of my flow and my radiance and my template of health, just like so. And when I'm radiating in that way, like a tuning fork, they're noticing it in them, and then that's what I'm working with when I'm working with someone is their highest vibration in them, this like energetic core. And we're like building, we're just tapping into the flow of that and getting it radiating. And then it's that in relationship to the parts that might be dense and dehydrated or doesn't have as much slide and glide in the body, or there's some frozen nervous system states there or something. So that it holds in them because it came from them.
Say more about that.
Yeah. So what I've learned over the years of being in this, um, practice is when I showed up as the helper and the fixer, and this applies to clients and kids, but it's so much harder to do it with our kids because we're so much more emotionally attached.
Right. Right.
But if I show up as the helper and the fixer, then, and I'm the external stimulus doing the thing for them. And the energy of it actually is that they're showing up as like, oh, yeah, I have this thing that needs to be fixed, and you're the fixer.
And I fix it myself is what it tells them.
Right. They're not empowered that they actually have all the alchemy within them.
Right.
To presence with that area of their body. So then they walk outside the door, and whatever happened in the room, you can reset a pelvis and a trunk relationship, and you can, get the energy flowing. But when they walk out, they don't know that it came from them. They walk out the door, and their nervous system puts them in a circuitry that this is how I walk out in the world. I tuck my pelvis, or I clench my jaw, and the patterns don't hold. And so what I've learned over the years is if I presence with them in a way where I'm just guiding, and I'm in my own embodied radiance, emanating that, and then I'm tapping into theirs, and they're meeting me under the skin. This is not a go to sleep and forget about it. There are lots of people get sleepy and relaxed, but it's like they're really with themselves under the skin, and they notice how it came from them. It holds because it was the relationship between their higher vibration and that part that was just offline.
Yeah.
And same with our kids. So in that moment of like, oh my gosh, I didn't show you that, how to separate the whites and the darks. And now I'm doing this out of fear to try to fix. It's so much harder with our kids. But if I can just step back into me and be like, well, I have everything that I need. I trust my inner authority. Here's my connection above and below, and start to radiate, then they get that tuning fork, and then they see that I am trusting their system and trusting their decision making. And we're all going to make mistakes, but they get it, and them feeling like, oh, she trusts my system, she trusts my decisions, whether I get it, whether I mess up my laundry or don't mess up my laundry. Like, that is an empowered thing where
Right.
they're going to actually like grow from that, instead of being told, oh, this is one more thing my mom's telling me to do and she can do it for me. Or does that make sense?
Yes, I love what you're saying, because I do think one of the things I've been talking to with a couple of it, it kind of, I'm sure it happens to you too. I'll have these waves of where like this one kind of theme weaves through with like clients, with myself
Yeah.
and my work,
Yeah.
with my kids. And like, this has been a theme lately, this idea of not abandoning yourself. And I think that can be a tricky concept when we can kind of give over our power, when we're in a pattern of just sort of giving over our power so easily. And for listeners, like some of what we're talking about is like, say, here's one way it happens a lot is you go to do something and you feel really good about it. Like, I'm going to start this new, like this podcast. Like Jennifer and I were going to start this podcast. Right away, it felt really good. It felt really good to both of us. What we didn't do was go poll all of our friends and say, do you think this is a good idea? Because
Right.
in this moment, we just knew it was and we went with it. But old me would have talked to like 10 of my friends and been like, and
Should I?
instead of just trusting myself and the
Yes.
nudge that I had to do it, I would have been like, what do you think? Do you think I'm going to be good at this? Do you think, like, I don't really know exactly what I'm doing. I don't have the like right microphone. Like, we don't have a graphic artist. I would have like totally just handed my whole decision power over to
Right.
the polling. I used to be a poller, and I think people do that. That's a way we abandon ourselves. Sometimes we just like avoid, just check out. But sometimes it is, like you said, this fear response where we cause, not only like do we sort of not stay with ourselves in that, like we're not acting from the part of us that feels good to act from, nor does it feel natural. Well, it might feel natural because it's a habit, but we also knock the people around us off a little because, like you said, we like really, if we think about it, nothing feels worse than having somebody jump in to help you, to take your task from you and do it for you better than you think you could do it. Nothing feels worse than that. Like,
totally disempowered. Yeah.
Or further, one of my daughters and I are having this conversation. What about when somebody asks you to do something and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so happy to show up and do that. And so you do it. And then you go back to them and they're like, oh, okay, never mind. I just decided to do this other thing. And you're like, wait, why did you invite me in? Why did you say you trusted me to do this thing? And now you're pulling it back from me.
Right.
And so it feels kind of like a waste of our energy.
Right.
And so you build that relationship with that person where you kind of get tired of showing up to do the thing because it's never good enough. And I think we do that to our kids. Like, I'm so guilty. If I could go back and do it over, I used to do that with my girls with chores all the time. Like, they would do them and then I'd be like, oh my God, the towels look terrible. I'm just going to refold them. Well, they knew I refolded everything. And so, you know what? They just quit folding them.
Right. Or caring about how they folded it.
Yes. And so I just think we don't realize as parents how we just, in that we kind of, like you said, overdo out of fear. And then really the only thing that persists and carries forward is the fear.
That's right.
Is
That's
the
right.
feeling
And
of,
then the ego comes in to help, right, with that fear. So
mhm,
when I was being the fixer and the helper, and I did that with my kids too, I mean, my child has a lot of learning differences, and when he was young, I was throwing the kitchen sink at it, and wanting to get answers and help, and it was just too much, and sending the message that something is wrong here
yeah,
when there's nothing wrong. Where it was coming from was a fear in me, you know, and when I was when early as a clinician, when I was being the fixer, it's because I ego wise I wanted to be seen by the client as, wow, she really helped my back pain. That's ego. And that doesn't ultimately, that has a shelf life, that has an energy expenditure that burns me out and actually doesn't do that much long lasting shifting for
right.
the client or the child. So the flipping it and that paradox of when I'm actually just checking in constantly with my own self of like, what is the intention behind this action and this, and I'm, more and more aligned in my radiance, then it is extremely generous to the collective because they're then showing up like that in them.
Right.
Such a paradox to what culture teaches us. That's what I'm
Well,
playing with lately. Like you're saying, like, where's my inner authority and
uh-huh.
sovereignty, and not from whatever society culture is saying is good, and not from also my ego fear parts.
And I think it's nice. I love this. And I think it's nice to think about just the subtle ways. The reason some of the reinforcements of that misalignment are like, you know, we live, I mean, we see how many ads a day. I mean, now you go to
Yeah.
the gas pump and the gas pump starts talking to you. And it's just like it's like that.
It's constantly like, you're not good enough. You need this, you
Yes.
need that.
Oh,
Yeah.
right, right. And so, of course, that would that would permeate. Like, of course, that would get under our skin a little. And so it takes some real conscious effort to undo it. And I do want to say that I think that you know, just the reminder that part of making that ego-led choice to help and to be a healer, because there's a part of you that wanted to feel how good it felt to be the person that helped that person get out of their back pain. Had you not had all of the experience of that and
Right.
to see how it did and didn't serve you and your client,
Yes.
you might not be able to as richly experience now what it feels like to do it from this other place. And so I think
Mhm.
some of what I just feel so called to right now is just to remind each other that that is all part of it. Like it's part
Yes.
of it to parent out of fear so that then when
That's
we
right.
parent out of love, we feel how that texture, it's like
Yes.
literally has a different actual texture.
Yes, it does.
Like
Uh-huh.
the air in the room feels different. It's why when you walk in the room after somebody's had a fight, you want to open a window. And when you walk in a room that is full of love, you want to bask in it. It's like
Yes.
it's really, we all have this wisdom in us. We just are trying to tap back into it. So what I want to say to our listeners is the kind of work Liz is doing, um, for me, has been just as helpful and now my go-to more than like talking it out with someone as much. Like I'm
Mhm.
definitely a talker and a verbal processor, but I just love that there are healing modalities out there like yours, because all of these things, these experiences, and I know there's different science behind, do they actually live in your body? Does this live in this part? Blah, blah, blah. The bottom line is our body is our vehicle here.
Mhm.
So
That's
our
right.
body does have some, let me just be loose with my words, everyone, without coming at me. But there is some kind of roadmap in our body of like where we've been, what we've
Mhm.
experienced, highs, lows, goods, bads, positives, negatives. Um, and working with someone like you that gets into our fascia and our energy and lets us feel like how we feel in our body will ultimately give us those experiences of like that core memory. That's like a hot
Yes.
little term, a core memory. It gives you a core memory experience where you're like, oh, like this
Uh-huh.
I have right now is like the other day when I was on Liz's table and we were working on my calf and it felt so good. Like, oh, this feels really good. And then you know what I mean?
Yes, I do. It's the
So
return
I
of
just want to
you,
encourage, yeah,
your freeness, your flow, the return of you, your
yeah,
freedom, your spirit, and your flow in you. And I
yes,
love what you're saying about like we all have to have these mirrors in these edges and these places of tension all the time in order to see these things.
yes,
And so the compassion of just like for ourselves 100,000 times a day when we're bumping up against the like, oh, I'm doing it again. I'm talking out of fear. I'm talking out of guilt. I'm talking out of ego, and the noticing, that's all there is to do. And that
right.
this awareness is the alchemy of the noticing, And
Yeah,
so, yeah. And then, yeah, I could talk for hours. I
I
could talk
know. I
for
know. This
hours
is
about how like the
so,
return of the embodiment of your spirit freed up is
hmm,
it's just, yeah, the fascia, this physical vessel is the
hmm,
conduit, it's the vehicle for that.
hmm.
And we know what it's like to be safe and to be free at the same time. And we're just reminded, we're given stuff again and again in front of us to bump up against those edges and then have choice points. And yeah.
I love, yeah, yeah, I love that too. And
Mhm.
gosh, there's so much more we could say, but
I
I'm
know.
I'm so glad for the way that we've been able to just talk about kind of the practicality of how it happens every day with our kids and with each other and within ourselves, and with that more subtle, behind the scenes, what's happening with our energy and what's happening
Yeah.
around us when we like that, when we radiate out, kind of if we're radiating out like a little radio fear, or if we're radiating out love, and just to, like you said, not judge yourself, just let yourself build that awareness and notice, and then have curiosity about, how could I do
That's
that differently next time? So, well, I know y'all, it's school drop out, it's school pickup time. Liz has got to go. But, I'm
I
so,
don't want to go. There's so much
I
more we
know
could.
this is so good.
You're fine.
Maybe
I
we can do
appreciate
a
this
part
so
two
much.
another time. But oh my gosh, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. What a
Yes, so
gift this
good.
is to your
Yes,
listeners and community. I appreciate you
yeah.
bringing me into the fold of it.
Yes, thank you so much. Okay, y'all, until next time, share with your friends and let us know what you want to hear on the Empty Nest Quest. Bye.
Bye. Thanks.